Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Recruit Military Live, where we will be discussing the power of LinkedIn and ways to unlock LinkedIn's potential in under 30 minutes. As always, my name is Gabby Pettigrew, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Raul Torres. Good morning, Raul.
Hey, Gabby. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Very excited today. We have one of our team members. This might be the first team member or maybe second that we have on the show.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get some internal feedback on today's topic. So our guest for today, again, who is also a member of the Recruit Military family. She's an Army veteran and former intelligence officer and is currently serving as the VP of Sales of Recruit Military. She's based in Colorado, combines her passion for climbing mountains and running with her dedication to connecting companies with veteran talent. She's committed to leveraging her military experience to help veterans find meaningful employment and thrive in civilian careers by helping to educate companies on the benefits of hiring veteran talent. Her leadership in the recruitment space reflects her belief in the unique skills veterans bring to the workforce. And please, without further ado, join me in giving a warm welcome to Alexis Eldridge. Welcome to the show, Alexis. How you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me. Really excited to chat with you all.
Of course. No, thank you for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. For anyone that may be watching and is obviously doesn't know who Alexis is, she's pretty much a rock star and out of work. Like, she's literally kicking butt, like behind the scenes here for the organization, helping connect amazing clients and employers with, our amazing military community. But also we just hear of the phenomenal things and how much she's kicking butt, like outside of work, literally climbing mountains, going running, like she does it all. So we're very excited just to have someone of an amazing caliber who's not only working alongside us with the organization, but here to impart some wisdom. So thank you for joining us, Alexis.
Thanks, Gabby.
And so jumping right into it, the focus for today will be LinkedIn. And even myself, I've had a LinkedIn for at least, I would say, the last like 5 or 6 years, maybe more than that, but was a lot more inactive. While I was in the military, I just did not keep up with it. I didn't see a need. But especially once I got out, all I heard about was like, LinkedIn just started becoming more and more popular, and the emphasis on how much of an asset it was, especially during the transition process, networking, all that jazz. It was definitely becoming more prominent in the civilian sector. So I'm aware of some of the resources that LinkedIn has to offer, but I'm excited to dive more into that today. And first and foremost, I would like to just kick it off by seeing if y'all have any personal stories when it comes to LinkedIn. Like, was there right off the bat, is there just a good warm and fuzzy that y'all have about how LinkedIn was able to help bridge a gap of connection or help accomplish a goal that you had set out for yourself? I know I have one that I've told time and time again, but I just love the way that things worked out. But I would love to kick it to y'all.
Personally, for me, it's helped with this job in general, with being able to connect with clients as well as candidates, and being able to make those meaningful connections between both client and candidate, as well as our organization, to either party. But when I was leaving the service, I used the transition service myself to find my first career out of the military. And from there, then I finally understood all of the benefits LinkedIn offer. And so now, just like you both, I am trying to help people exploit all of the tools that LinkedIn has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then on my end, I kind of, just like you, Gabby, like while I was in, it was kind of like you knew what LinkedIn was, but maybe you had an account, but all you had was like your name. You didn't even have a profile picture, right? Maybe you added some
updated on there.
You might have added some people you knew, but I didn't really start getting into LinkedIn till I started transitioning and really started using it as a tool to kind of network. And, even after like applying to jobs, I would then go in and like started learning how to do the research on like, hey, maybe if I applied to this job at X company, maybe I should do the research to see what veterans like work there, so I can reach out that way. So I was kind of figuring it out in that manner. I would say though, I'm starting to see a lot of my buddies who are still in, like it's like they keep an ear to like the civilian streets. Like they have their LinkedIn and it's populated now. Like I'm starting to see that difference from like when I transition out, that active duty folk who are just reenlisted or, maybe just want to keep an eye on what's going on. They're having their LinkedIn like pretty up to date.
Yeah.
They plan on doing 20. It's nuts. I don't know if you've seen that transition on your end, but
it's practically another social app for them, but strictly, for the professional sector, for that professional side of their life. And no, you're exactly right. I've been seeing more and more, especially like higher enlisted and, officers of a higher caliber, that they're keeping up and consistently posting and becoming influencers on LinkedIn because of how much an impact they have within the military, sector as well. And I mean, it's just genius because you're building this huge following, this huge network while you're active, while you're looked at as a SME and all these, whatever the industry is, whatever the career field is that you're in. And when you do make that transition, you've made all these connections. You've been a part of all these conversations already while active, while an officer, while, an E9. And so when you do make that transition, you already have this entirely like huge network of people and connections. And I wish that was something that I had done and had made more of a focus on, especially like during my years in while I was transitioning out. But I didn't really rely on LinkedIn in any capacity. Did I think that it was going to be such a huge benefit to me the way that it was when, I finally left my first couple of jobs after transitioning out of the Marine Corps. I was like, you know what, maybe it's just time to update my personal LinkedIn. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure I had to like update my password because I had forgot. I think they had come out with at least verifying people. So like submitting a government ID and all of that. So I was like, oh, like some things have changed. Like it's become more user friendly, more interactive. But I recall to this day, me sitting on my couch upstairs, stressing because it had already been maybe like 3 months of actual job searching and sending in applications. I had gone on a couple interviews and like just wasn't feeling good about it. I was like, okay, let's go and do our LinkedIn, updated some stuff, started perusing my timeline for literally a couple minutes. And I'd seen Raul's posting for the position I currently have with RecruitMilitary. And he has just said, like, oh, hey, we're hiring for, so-and-so position. Here's the listing. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I've mentioned this before. I have huge imposter syndrome. So that post had gained so much traction already through Raul's network. And there were, already so much engagement and likes and people commenting like, oh, hey, like I threw my name in the hat, yada, yada. And then I'm like cyber stalking them on LinkedIn, being like, oh, this person has a master's, in like business communications or like strategic, team building. And I'm just like, I was a Marine for 10 years. Like I did this career field. I worked with the military. Like I know what I bring to the table, but I don't think it's better than these folks. So I never even told Raul that I was joining or, putting my name in the hat and applying because I just didn't. I'm also very stubborn. I was in that stage of not wanting to ask for help either. But no, I mean, I, submitted my application and I got contacted. And then Raul was like, why didn't you tell me you applied? Like I could have let them know and given them a heads up. And I was like, I just didn't want to have to rely or bug anyone or rely on anyone else. Like I needed to feel like I got this all on my own. He still was mad. He's like, still, I at least let them know, like, no, like she's good. Definitely give her a shot. But I was like, no, I just wanted to do it. But, just doing that, just literally an update and a scroll on LinkedIn led me into, put me into the application process and then, got me going. And here I am now. So it's literally the power of LinkedIn. That wasn't even me utilizing all of the resources that it has to offer. I literally did almost the bare minimum, and it was like a blessing that it went so well. But it's just that it's something just so serendipitous. That I didn't, wasn't holding my breath, didn't put much hope into it, and here I am. So I'm very excited to actually dive into ways, especially you, Alexis, being just extremely successful within, the sales part of our organization and really utilizing and in a strategic manner, very successful strategic manner, how to navigate LinkedIn and how to make those connections with both clients and employers as well as candidates. So like diving right into that, what are some ways you personally that you've approached LinkedIn in a strategic manner that have just been extremely helpful? Oh, I don't know. Is she frozen for you, Raul?
Yeah, she's frozen on my end.
A little frozen. But I know one thing right off the bat, in case like one of the first things that we had thought of when it came to there you are. Sorry, you lost a little bit. You were frozen. You're back. So if you could
let's try that again.
We don't want to miss any of the prime knowledge.
Okay, let's try again. So I think it's all about figuring out what are you interested in. So if you can figure out one job or one company, it's going to lead you down a rabbit hole. So you go in, you figure out you're interested in X company. Now you go to their page, you start looking at their individuals that are in recruiting, that are in talent acquisition, other veterans. Where have these veterans also worked at? So you click on profiles, you connect with people. And it's okay. People want those connections. The more we can build our network, the more everyone can do across the sector of corporate America. So it's okay to connect with people you do not know. You can send them a quick message. Hi, my name is Alexis Eldridge. I was an Army intelligence officer, would love to connect with you and follow your background of what you're doing in corporate America. And so now that that person works in a certain job within this company you're interested in, look at what jobs they've already worked at. Now you can click on those jobs. It'll start taking you to other places. It'll take you to industries maybe you didn't realize you were interested in, or companies you have never heard of. So it's definitely a rabbit hole. It just continues to take you because you start connecting with new people. You see on the side of LinkedIn, it'll tell you companies similar to this industry. I always go through that. When I'm looking for clients to connect with, I'll connect with one, and then I'll look at companies very similar to them and see who else is doing what they're doing. And then you can connect with people like, I want to connect with this director of TA because I want to see what types of positions they're hiring for, to see will veterans be a good fit at this organization. But that's step one, probably.
No, that's genius because I love you mentioned something that I didn't even think about. It has that feature that you'd see on like a streaming app like Netflix, like, oh, you liked this company. Here are more companies like it. You liked this movie, this show, you probably will like these. That's an amazing feature because I think what gets to a lot of people, especially during the research process, is how tedious it could be and how time consuming. So if LinkedIn can do even just small things like recommend organizations that are already similar to what you're looking into, that alleviates so much more of the research process of having to go up or go through and search by name, or that you had to go and Google separately, come up with your own list, then go and find them on your own on LinkedIn. And you're exactly right. By visiting their LinkedIn pages and looking into, you can just, depending on how active they are, right, how consistent they are in their posting, is you can look a lot into their company culture that way. You can see, what do they care about posting? Do they post anything really about like work-life balance? How is company morale? How are they, supporting veterans within that industry? I got to look into your connection is reminiscent of 1995.
And guys, I'm using Starlink, and it's a very expensive connection that is very slow today.
Oh no, yeah, you're gonna have to call them today and be like, excuse me, this was not what I paid for. I've had to do that. So thank you to everyone for bearing, technical difficulties. I've been kicked off of our streams before as the sole host, so my guest was just left there like talking to themselves. So I feel you, Alexis. At least you're still with us. But no, I don't know if you agree, Raul, but those first couple of suggestions are extremely useful.
Yeah.
Well, something else to think about is if you follow those companies, sometimes they have virtual career fairs they'll host on different platforms. So the more you follow a company, just click on these companies, follow them, see what they're doing, see what career fairs they're hosting, see what opportunities they're going to be at. But follow people, follow companies, because that's how you're going to leverage information that is being put out essentially in our social media of what we call LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the rabbit hole, like following companies, like things like you were saying, Gabby, like Netflix suggestions and whatnot. I remember spending a incredibly long time on LinkedIn, like when I was first just discovering it, like looking at individuals that work for companies, like I was mentioning before, and just doing my research. But another thing that I did utilize and still exists today is that free LinkedIn Premium. I believe is for transitioning veterans and spouses. I want to say as well. I think that's
for all veterans, so you can
veterans as well. Yeah, because I think I accessed it after I got out of the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a transitioning veteran, and if you're a veteran as well, it's available to you. There's definitely features that you can't get on the LinkedIn, the regular LinkedIn, the free version. So definitely check that out. I'm pretty sure our producer Sean, we might be able to find a link online and drop it on there.
If you don't, well, I've already had premium, so when I log in, I'll randomly get the banner that's saying, do you want to reactivate your premium for half the price? Or, if I had it at one point, just one time, they're like, oh, here's another month free of premium. And I think definitely if I had a stronger, more influence of a profile, it would be very beneficial. Or if I was in the transitioning space, definitely utilize that, because I really don't feel like I utilize their features enough for the premium to actually keep it. But if you don't turn down a free year, or especially if they offer it, another free month later on down the road, definitely take advantage of that and use it to expand your network even more and take advantage of those resources that come with the free account.
Yeah, I think part of it gives you like super stalking privileges.
Yeah, I always feel a little odd. Like I'm like I wish I could go incognito mode. So when I'm looking at people's profiles, like, oh, this person visited your profile 4 times today. Like, I promise I'm not obsessed with you. I'm just like, I appreciate your account, and I'm just trying to go back and look at stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some cool features that it allows. And I know I don't think I've ever taken any of the courses or the cert classes, that come along, but I see them constantly where LinkedIn is offering. I'm not sure if they're solely exclusive to a premium account, but LinkedIn has so many resources where they're literally offering classes that you can get certified through LinkedIn for, for IT or for communication, or it'll put a banner on your profile saying, oh, Gabby Pettigrew completed this course for, for this certification for this industry, and it automatically will populate on your profile.
Yeah, and Alexis, I wanted to ask you, because I know we spoke before this about, obviously you're, stalking on LinkedIn, you're researching companies, you're reaching out to people. When it comes to applying, because obviously you can apply, like LinkedIn, you can see jobs through LinkedIn and whatnot, and you can see what companies are offering. But when it comes to applying as a job seeker, a veteran job seeker, using LinkedIn, what would you recommend, like, that process look like? Would you be applying through LinkedIn? Would you be applying through the company's website?
Absolutely. So I do not think you should do the quick apply through LinkedIn or apply through LinkedIn. And it's not to say LinkedIn isn't a good application process, but you have a stronger chance of the company seeing your profile if you apply directly through their ATS. So I would take the time, fill out the full profile, use ChatGPT, brush up that resume, brush up your cover letter for the specific company.
Make it relevant, use keywords.
And speaking of that, when you're creating your LinkedIn, use ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT, I am trying to write my LinkedIn description page. I have done X, Y, and Z. This is who I am. And it's going to create a beautiful summary of everything you've done and who you are. You can do it for individual jobs. So those that are documenting, Gabby, you were talking about it earlier, and I thought of this just a couple seconds ago, but those that are documenting their career actively now in the service, one, you can go back and now you remember what you've done. So when you're trying to interview or create your resume, you're like, oh yeah, I did do this. So it's like almost a storybook for you to relate to. But you can now use all of that experience and write your LinkedIn of, this is what I did when I was at this unit, when I was in this command leadership, but make it relevant to the civilian audience. So ChatGPT, this is what I did. Can you write me a paragraph so I can put it in this job description, but make it so a civilian will understand my job? So that's something our veterans should also be doing.
Exactly. And I just love the connectivity, right? It's what LinkedIn is all about. It's about networking in a professional aspect. But there's things that I have, like my social media manager and myself have found, because obviously we're constantly, social media is ever changing. So we're constantly trying to make sure we're staying on trend, and we're making, the most relatable content, the most engaging content. And there's been courses that he and I have gone through and found and watched that have been extremely informational and beneficial, because we just followed someone, a click, because they had a really relatable post. And then it turns out that they do live seminars on specifically like marketing and content creation and ways to boost your engagement. And now we have this whole other asset, this whole tool that we're involved with, simply because we followed whoever he is, and he had this whole branch and this whole network. And that's exactly it. It doesn't have to be so strenuous. There is a lot of work that can be done, but just simply going on there, following people, seeing the recommendations from that following, and looking into those and following, just branching out that network, and your timeline is just building itself full of resources, is just that little amount of work can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And the more likes and clicks and impressions you have, and people you're commenting on and just following, it's going to allow you to see more opportunities.
Exactly. And that goes also into consistency within your own profile, right? And posting and boosting yourself. That will, I don't know if you can speak on that at all, but being active will, work with the algorithm, will bring more exposure to that post, will put you on more people's timelines, and you'll get more following from them. More eyes will be on you. So it's literally a butterfly effect from one thing to the other.
Absolutely. There's not much to say other than what you just said, Gabby. It's staying consistent and continuing just to research what you're interested in. You could be a veteran that currently has a job within corporate America. You can be a transitioning veteran. But if you are going to do that job search, make it a dedicated job search. Figure out what you want to be doing, what a company's values are that really relate to you, what their industry is, and then start following those types of companies so you can have a first chance at an opportunity that they may post. And if a recruiter posts a role, don't be nervous to drop into their DMs, as we call it, and message them. Hey, I'm going to
go that extra mile. Exactly. No, and that, staying consistent and staying up to date just goes right into our next point as well, is, just simply like following RecruitMilitary. If you are in the job search space, a transitioning veteran, a military spouse, or you've been a veteran for a while, looking to change careers, whatever it is, following a page just keeps you also up to date to all the resources that they have, all the events that, RecruitMilitary, for instance, if you were to follow our page, you'll see when we're posting, web seminars for resume writing, or specifically, for government agencies. You'll see our next national, virtual, Western region, whatever it is, virtual career fair. You'll see if we're coming to your town tomorrow, and in whatever, Denver, Colorado, whatever the big city is, and like, oh, I have time tomorrow to go to this job fair and show face. And you won't know these, you don't know what you don't know. So just by branching out and building this network, and just literally things are coming to you on your timeline. That's how it all works. So staying relevant, staying consistent, but also branching out and following resources like RecruitMilitary, like any organization that does what we do to support the military community, is going to be extremely beneficial.
Yeah, this, for whatever reason, I just thought about when you're like in a new place and you're like looking for a restaurant to eat, and the only thing they have online, their only presence online, is like a Facebook page that they haven't like updated in like 7 years. You're like, what's going on? So that just speaks to like the importance of staying relevant in the online space, and keeping your branding, your presence on LinkedIn up to date. This speaks to the companies, especially like, if you like, there's job seekers out there, specifically our audience, there's veteran job seekers out there that are doing the research. They are already on LinkedIn, trying to figure out what you offer and what you bring to the table, what jobs you have available. So it's just further speaks to the importance of remaining relevant and keeping your branding and pages up to date.
Yeah, there's just so many things from start to before, all we would rely on Google a lot. Like I'm going to use a friend of mine. He's a veteran. He, has a master's degree. He's currently going through his job search journey. And he had an interview with the University of North Texas last week. And like an hour before his interview with a panel of 4 people, he got like who he was interviewing with. And he took that, and, a lot of people would be like, oh, okay, let me just, prep my own interview questions, whatever it is. But he went and did that research for the next 45 minutes. He went on LinkedIn, put their names in, looked at their bios, whatever their about me's were, looked at their skill sets, what role did they have in what department, and did research, found anything relatable, between himself, whether it was, like personal life stuff, work life stuff, if there were any veterans that he was going to be speaking with. And he applied, all that research to his job interview right then and there. So that LinkedIn can be utilized in such an amazing capacity. And it's just branching. There's things that you've said, Alexis, that I would never have even thought of when it came to utilizing this tool in the job search capacity, whether, or as a client and employer as well. So is there anything, now that we're coming to the end of this, that just like the final tidbits, words of wisdom, if there's anything you want people to know walking away from this episode, when it comes to LinkedIn, doing research or just making yourself known, what words would you leave them with?
Well, I would leave you with this. If an organization is going to compare 2 candidates and one candidate has taken the time to update their profile and really accentuate all of their skill sets in there, and then one has not, they're going to automatically look at that candidate who is active, who does care about their job search. So I believe that that's one way that you can set yourself apart. Having a good profile photo, you can take that, and there's AI features, and you can make your background better, but get a headshot, get a professional headshot. It shouldn't be something where you're sitting outside in a t-shirt. Have something that looks professional for these clients to look at. But those are the 2 tips that I think would be, at least would get you started with setting yourself apart.
Okay, and we have a comment here from Jonathan Valise, and I think this would be a good one for you, Alexis. He's asking, it's kind of a question, but he's saying, so you're on LinkedIn, right? You're looking at companies, jobs, then recruiter talent acquisition, then previous positions and companies, rinse and repeat. Is that the process that you I know you were talking about the process of how exactly to go about doing your research. Is that how you would go about it?
Yeah, and I think what he's getting at is really how can you find areas of interest for yourself. So that's one way I go about it. Now, if you're looking for a project manager role, maybe you find a Navy nuke that is in a company you're interested in, and he's in a project manager position. Click on his position. See what companies he's worked for. Rinse and repeat with those other companies. Use keywords: veteran, military, hiring, talent, recruiter, things like that are the keywords I put in to find the individuals I'm most interested in talking to. And that's what our veterans should be doing as well on the people side of the search. Now, when it comes to looking for jobs and industries, you can do it that way as well. It takes you down the rabbit hole, but you can also just type into the job feature field service tech, and now you have a couple companies, and now you go to their competitors, you go to industry leaders that are also with that company, and that's one way you can find more industries to learn about and more jobs to read into. So it's kind of a twofold. So people you're looking for and positions, as well as industry and jobs, you can use all of these different tools with regards to just figuring out where you want to be in corporate America.
You can really, really go down the rabbit hole. Like, I feel like LinkedIn is the professional, like YouTube. Like I live on YouTube, and I'm going down just like Netflix, the suggestion page. So professionally, bro, LinkedIn.
Yeah. It's a good rabbit hole, though, right? Usually rabbit holes are like conspiracy theories that I get stuck on at 2 a.m. But this is a good rabbit hole. You're expanding your network, you're expanding your mind and your resources. So it's it's okay to get caught in this rabbit hole for sure. And I mean, if we can't say it enough, Alexis, but obviously just by the engagement of our audience members, Martin is saying this is fantastic information. Thank you, Martin. So we can't thank you enough for coming on here and literally just letting us into your world, how you approach LinkedIn in such a strategic manner, and you know how I forgot who it was, Jonathan. That in itself, that comment is a great formula in approaching research in itself, just a basis, you know, a good foundation to start off with, and then tweak it as needed for your own, you know, whatever your goal is in that research. So thank you again, Alexis, for coming on today. Oh, we have another one. What are your thoughts to applying for a job if you don't meet all of the requirements, such as years of experience?
I absolutely think you should still apply. Update your resume so that it matches the job description. You want to, now you don't want to lie, but you want to elevate all the things you've done so it matches that job description as best possible. Still apply and reach out to that recruiter of why you're a good fit for this position. Veterans so often write themselves off as, I don't have enough skills for X, Y, and Z. Well, companies know you're not going to get 100% fit with every candidate. So take that chance, apply, utilize our services, go to our career fairs, speak to those employers in person, and sell yourself.
Yes. And Alexis, you've said exactly what we've had actual clients, actual employers who have been to our career fairs. You've said exactly what they have suggested. You know, like a lot of the times, they'll look at a resume and maybe the skills don't match, but they actually spoke to that person in person, face to face, and fell in love with their personality, with just their charisma and what, you know, just how that conversation goes. So going the extra mile, making your personality known, making just your work ethic known and your perseverance, and how much you feel like, how great of a fit you feel you are for the job, whether you meet A, B, and C requirements, can make a world of difference. So yeah, definitely what you said, we've heard it from them. Still apply, still make it known you're interested, go that extra mile, because you can, that could be the differentiator beside for someone who does check all the boxes, but maybe isn't, you know, the best person, the best fit for the job. Exactly. So no, yeah, you hit it right on the nose as a client would suggest.
I think we'll need a part 2.
No, we were talking about this yesterday. We could go for hours, and I love this has been a great Q&A session as well from our audience. I love that you guys are asking questions, so keep that up. We see how successful this was and just how much engagement we received. So we know that you guys are definitely interested, and it's great that you're wanting to learn more on how to successfully navigate LinkedIn and the resources it has. So thank you so much, Alexis, again, for the amazing information, for the time. We'll definitely be doing this again. And for anyone else, if you do have any questions, please always feel free to drop them in the comments, and we can get back to you as soon as possible. But otherwise, thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.